All right. Well, hello, everyone. This is Ryan Anderson with the IPM Institute of North America, doing another interview on state IPM laws or pesticide reduction laws for schools across the nation. This is our working group of the North Central IPM School IPM working group. It's funded by the North Central IPM Center and the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Today we have Alyssa Foss, who is the Environmental Analysis and Pesticide Specialist for the Wisconsin Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection. We're going to talk with Alyssa about the school IPM law out in the state of Wisconsin and her role in implementing that law. So thank you, Alyssa, for joining us. And as always, I appreciate a little conversation about your role in implementing school IPM across the state of Wisconsin.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for having me, Ryan.
Great. Yeah, so could you elaborate a little bit more on your role in terms of implementing the school IPM law?
Yeah, absolutely. So at DACAP, I am technically a pesticide program manager. And so one of the programs I have is our school IPM program. And so that is a program through the Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection in Wisconsin that is made available to any school district within the state. So we offer various resources for schools to help just, build their integrated pest management program. We kind of take a hands-off approach as far as letting schools either create it themselves or come to us with help and assistance. There's not a ton of requirements we have in our state statutes saying exactly how an IPM program needs to look in a school, which can be beneficial so that each school can tailor it to their own needs. So we just kind of build a relationship with the schools as they reach out and are looking for information on how to create an IPM program that's best suited for them.
Mm-hmm. And we have one law, the Wisconsin statute 94.715. Is that the main law that kind of orients all the schools for IPM? If
Yeah,
so, could you?
it,
Yes, this.
no, sorry. Yep. It doesn't necessarily dictate IPM in the schools, but what it does tell the schools is that if they're going to be doing pesticide applications, they need to either use a commercial pest control company or they have to do someone that is certified and licensed within the state in order to make those pesticide applications. And so what it also does ask is like a school board review whatever pesticide applications would be taking place and make that approval prior to them happening. So with that, we see a lot of the school boards are looking to get an IPM program in place so that they just have to kind of go through it once almost and give their approval to the schools within their district for what pesticide applications may need to occur throughout the school year.
Mm-hmm. And how is that enforced to make sure that all pesticide applications are made by a certified applicator?
Yeah, so within DACAP, we have environmental enforcement specialists. We have 14 of them that are located across the state. They all have various counties that they cover. And so they work with the schools. They will come into the schools and talk to them about the pesticide applications they're making, who is making the pesticide applications, when are they occurring. We ask to see the certification of the individuals doing it, or if they're working with a commercial pest company. We ask who it is to verify all of this. And we just kind of coordinate with them that way, looking at pesticide application records, or if we can work with the schools and the applicator to actually physically be there when a pesticide application is taking place. We call it a use observation. So what we do is we'll show up, introduce ourselves, ask them to just kind of go about their daily routine of how they would be making these applications or how they would be, maintaining a bait station. And we watch them go through their process as far as like what pesticides they're choosing, how they're doing the application, making sure it's allowable on the pesticide product label. Are they doing the required posting that is needed to be at schools? And just go about their whole process that way, making sure it's all covered.
Mm-hmm. And so for so you said there's the on-site visits, but also, oh, it sounds like on-site visits. How frequently would you engage like one school district? Is it every year or is it,
Yeah, so we have within our 14 field staff, they cover anywhere from like 6 to 10 counties. So it all varies. But primarily what they'll target is a couple school districts each year, 2 to 3, whether they're looking at different schools within the district. So we do try and touch base with as many districts as possible across the state, but it'll vary just by area primarily and how many school districts are in the area.
mhm. And I was trying to look at your laws from like 94.715, and I wasn't quite able to find, are there like prohibited pesticide products that for the schools, and if so, where would schools be able to find that information?
Yeah, so there's nothing necessarily prohibited that the schools can or cannot use. It's all just what is their comfort level with the pesticide products they would like to use in their environment. The only thing I will say is what determines if it's prohibited or not is what's allowed, even on the pesticide product label. So if it doesn't allow for a setting like a school, it can't be used. So they do need to be following the pesticide product label. But a lot of that is what's going to dictate where they can be used and then also what the school is willing to use as far as pesticide products. So if a school has, different active ingredients they do not want to use and they would consider it prohibited, that's totally fine. But it's going to vary by school district across the state.
Okay. And then are there, do you see at all the schools kind of violating or misinterpreting 94.7.715?
Yeah,
So how would those violations be handled?
Yeah, so the confusion we see around 94.715 is whether someone working for the school districts can make the pesticide applications, which they can, but then they do need certification from us. And what that requires is becoming a certified applicator, essentially. So we do this with our commercial application companies as well as someone working for a school district. We would consider them a commercial not for hire, so they're primarily just doing the applications for a school district. But we have 20 different categories that we require pesticide applicators to get certified in. So depending on the applications they are looking to make, they would need to be certified in the appropriate categories. But we do require that even of employees within a school, like if they have a main grounds crew or grounds manager per se that manages all the schools and does the pesticide applications for the district, they would be the one that needs to get certified with us.
Right, thanks for that information. And then are there any other regulations outside of 94.715 that are relevant to school IPM or school pesticide law?
Yeah, so when 94.715 starts introducing, just even the term pesticide, we have to revert over to ATCAP 29, ATCP 29. And that's where a lot of our pesticide rules and regulations are covered. So that's going to look at pesticide use. It's going to look at certification and licensing of businesses as well as individuals, how to properly store pesticides, what are, the disposable practices you need to be doing. So when that comes into play, the pesticide use and just, how the state regulates pesticides, not even on school districts, this comes just broadly across the state. We're looking more specifically at ATCP 29.20 through 29.58.
Mm-hmm.
Covers a lot of the pesticide use across the state.
And I'm guessing those laws are titled something like the Wisconsin pesticide law or something.
Yeah, so they all have their different like categories or chapters, you could call it. So like 29.20 covers commercial application businesses. 0.21 is individuals handing or applying pesticides. 22 is storing, and it just kind of goes down the row of how you use pesticides and interact with them.
Mm-hmm. And so going through these reviews with the schools, I'm sure you do see some a lot of different pesticide records or anything like that. Is there any pest right now that's you think you're seeing a lot in schools across Wisconsin, or that specific pesticide or target pests that you're seeing a lot of control for?
Yeah, I think the questions we get the most would probably relate to bed bug control and as well as any pests that would require like a bait station.
Mhm. Okay, so bed bug control in schools, I haven't seen that a whole lot. Is it basically trying to prevent the spread, or are they actually applying products in schools for the bed
So
bug?
it's a combination of the two essentially. So typically we'll get a call if a school district is looking at how to update their IPM, practices for if bed bugs were to be introduced, or we get the call of like, hey, we have a student that came in, they have, we found bed bugs on them.
Okay.
What do we do? And so essentially then I assist them with working through best management practices. Typically that doesn't always require a pesticide application unless unless the infestation, kind of spreads throughout the school, but hopefully they're calling in time where we can, isolate it and just get that student the help they need in order to get rid of the bed bugs. But a lot of it we can see cleared up with isolating, just isolating the backpack, the lunchbox that the student brought in, asking them if or if the school district has like a change of clothes they can provide the student when they show up, as well as just providing resources then to the parents of that individual as far as what they can do at home in order to get rid of the bed bugs. We ask then, frequent cleaning of the classroom. So that can be any products that can be used on like a table surface and whatnot, down to like vacuuming the classroom to make sure we're getting rid of them. But if the school district notices that it's becoming a larger problem, then typically we request that they work with like a commercial application business who specializes in bed bug control to help get rid of it.
Yeah, and you mentioned, one more common violations is a administrator staff that's applying the pesticides. I'm wondering if you've seen that for, obviously we're probably seeing it for building managers or grounds managers, but have we also seen that for school nurses too, for issues like head lice? Or is that
No,
not?
we haven't really seen it too much with the head lice nurses. If they are helping with treating that, I guess we wouldn't probably consider that like an enforcement as far as like needing certification, just because it's probably few and far between. And so we would probably let that fall. We do have an exemption to certification under 94715, and that's if an individual is using like a germicide, sanitizer, or disinfectant. I guess school nurses using lice, we haven't thought about that. Currently, they do not need to get certified. I don't see that changing. So
Hmm.
hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. It actually goes into another question that we had is there any reasoning why germicides, sanitizers, or disinfectants are not considered pesticides under this law? Is it because it's not considered a pesticide by the EPA? And if so, are there like other restrictions on those products?
Yeah, so essentially what happens with like the germicides, sanitizers, and disinfectants is a lot of those products will still be considered pesticides by the EPA because they carry that EPA registration number.
Mhm.
But 94715 exempts them from being from individuals using those products in order to be certified with us, just because we typically see those applications being made by like, a teacher at recess wants to, clean down the tables or the desks that the students are sitting at, if it's a high volume in flu season, or, it's like the art teacher wants to scrub something, or if the janitor is, cleaning the bathrooms. A lot of those products would have an EPA registration number, and it would just become exhaustive to certify all of those individuals. But we still do actually follow up in light of the COVID pandemic and the uptick of using products like that. We have been doing use observations at the schools with teachers as far as using these products and making sure that they're using them according to labels. So, like, they'll spray it and then they have to do like a specific wait time before you can even touch the surface or like wipe it down. to make sure that they're using it properly. So we have done where our environmental enforcement specialists will follow up to make sure that they're still being used according to their label. But they just don't need certification. We just thought that would be too much.
Mhm. And just going on the law 94.715, or also just the overall pesticide laws, what you find is the largest challenge for you enforcing these laws and implementing them in schools?
That's a great question. I don't know if we necessarily see like a ton of challenges with the schools as far as using pesticide products, so long as they are using the products according to label, I guess is our biggest concern first and foremost, is that they're not going out there and applying products they shouldn't be using or applying them in the wrong way. That could just jeopardize everyone. But beyond that, making sure that not only are they using the pesticide products, according, but that they are, again, it goes back to our certification and licensing. I think we see that as being the biggest, issue or something that just gets overlooked. And as we work with schools on their pest management programs, we certainly work with them on getting someone who is certified. If they want someone making pesticide applications working for the district, we get that individual certified, or we refer them to commercial application businesses who are certified and licensed with the state. And we have the ability to look all of that up. So if anyone ever has questions about if they want to use a particular pest company and they don't know if they're certified and licensed, they can certainly give us a call and we can double check that for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it seems like this law has been around, I think when we were talking before, since the 90s or so, and it hasn't changed much, but with all of the kind of recent news and everything like that around certain products, I'm thinking first glyphosate, but also a couple of like neonicotinoids and stuff like that. Do you think the law will ever change, or and if so, do you think that will change up the implementation of the law? I would like to see what your thoughts are of the law, where will be like 5-10 years down the line.
Yeah, that's a great question. As much as I would like to see the law changed in certain ways, I also do like the vagueness of it because I think it provides flexibility to the school districts to create an IPM program that works for them and addresses their needs. But with pesticide uses and, us learning about the hazards of different active ingredients we've maybe commonly been using and trying to phase those out, I think IPM is just going to evolve as EPA removes potentially the registrations of those products, and that they'll no longer be available for use. And so I think our rule, I don't know if I see it as a priority for changing unless we have a state legislature that is, very passionate about it. But I can definitely see IPM and the way we do IPM changing just as new products with maybe safer measures are introduced on the market and using those accordingly.
Great, thank you. Do you have any other comments about either your position, the school IPM progress in Wisconsin, the school IPM law overall?
I really don't think so. I think at this time, we work with the schools as they come to us, and that seems to be a fairly robust system. I would like to, start reaching out to the school districts more and seeing what they need as far as IPM resources that the state could possibly assist with providing. So that is an avenue we are looking at doing. But how we do it right now is if the school districts approach us with anything they need, we are more than happy to help work with them on creating an IPM program, or whether that's getting them in touch with like a certified, commercial application business, answering their questions about can they use this product, should they use this product? We just address it on a case by case basis right now.
Mm-hmm. And going on that, are there any like specific resources that you would recommend? Let's say we have a school district out in Wisconsin, any specific resources they should look first for developing a school IPM law in the state of Wisconsin?
Yeah, so we do have resources available on our webpage on the DACAP website. If they were to look at school IPM, we do have a website available that is certainly a starting point, but is not all inclusive. I would definitely ask school districts looking to create an IPM program to reach out to us, and we can certainly cater to their needs that way, or reach out to other school districts in their areas that may have an IPM program in place that they can, review, look at, and then build theirs off of for sure. So we like to do like more of like a relationship based approach to the IPM and looking at what others in the area are doing.
Great, thank you. That was all the questions that I have. Thank you for your time, Alyssa. We really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Thank you.
yeah, thank you. So this was once again an interview for our North Central School IPM working group, as well as for Pest Defense for Healthy Schools. It will be on pestdefenseforhealthyschools.org later on, about a month from this. We'll just have a short blog post. So once again, we have all of our free school IPM training on pestdefenseforhealthyschools.org. So thank you again, Alyssa, for your time. Really appreciate it, and have a great day.
Great. Thank you so much. You both as well.